Hi friends, how are you? It's Nayanda. Welcome back to Foundational Truth, and thank you so much for joining me today. As you can see, I am recording outside because I was doing a study and I came across this new term. It's new for me. Some of you might have heard it before, but it's called a liminal space. And I thought, this would be a really good time to get outside in my garden, because I think a garden is just such a great illustration of what a liminal space looks like, a physical liminal space could look like. And so many of us are currently living in a liminal space, and holy smokes, liminal spaces can be super uncomfortable because you're leaving one thing that you have known to be normal and you're about to enter into a new thing, but you're not quite there yet. So you're on the precipice of a new thing and you are coming out of the old. And so spring is a perfect weather to illustrate a liminal space. We're used to cold winters here in Canada, and so we're used to putting on our coats and putting on our jackets and scarves and hats. And now here we are in spring. It's not quite cold, it's not quite warm, so you don't even know how to dress. Today, when I was at the park with our toddler, I was talking to a parent and he said to me, oh my gosh, we don't even know how to dress for this weather, because one second it's cold, one second it's hot. And that's how it is with a liminal space. You don't know how to exactly function or operate or dress. And all you know is that you no longer have to dress in winter weather. You don't any longer have to function as you used to, but you're not quite sure how to function because you're in this threshold. And so it's so uncomfortable. So naturally, the space is so easy for us to fall into frustration and anger and complaining. And I understand now why the children of Israel, they became so cranky when they went into the wilderness. I'm not saying they had a right to, but as a fellow human being, I could understand now how this could happen. So they're leaving this place of what they know, their routine, and then they're not in the promised land, and they're in a wilderness, and everything is different, and so the wilderness becomes this liminal space for the children of Israel. And so they did the total wrong thing, which is to complain. That is the worst thing you can do, is to complain. It's just going to breed frustration and anger. So while you find yourself in this liminal space, don't go crazy like the Israelites were saying crazy things. Like your mind could start playing tricks on you, like how Moses, have you brought us out of Egypt to die? Like you were a slave in Egypt working for nothing. So you should not look back. As you're in your liminal space, don't look back and consider, oh my God, did I make the right decision? Did God really talk to me? If you want to know whether or not you are on the right track and if God is talking to you, check your journaling. If you journal, if you take notes, which you should, you check what God has been saying to you in the last 3 months or the last year. He always leads you up to something. He just doesn't abruptly do things with you. He knows how we are, and so he preps us, and so he leads us up to a particular spot that we're at. So check your notes. What has he been saying to you? What has he been saying to you? And whatever it is that he's been saying to you will bring you right back up here. So chances are that you are listening to his voice and you did make that right decision to leave that bad relationship, to move, to leave that job. It is uncomfortable, yes, but hang in there. All of us will go through liminal spaces, all of us. If you are, COVID-19 is actually a really great example of a liminal space. COVID-19, the thing with it, most people said that it would be easier for them to cope if they knew when it would end. That's the thing with liminal spaces. Some of them are short, some of them are long. We don't always know when it's gonna end, but we have to hang in there. This is a great opportunity. God is teaching us how to trust him. And so in your liminal space, trust God. He provided for Israel in the wilderness for those 40 years, you guys. He said their shoes, they never were worn out. Their shoes were not worn out. The clothes are not were not worn out. He kept them. He provided manna from heaven for them and quail every single day for 40 years. God is a good God, so trust him. He will provide. Okay, so what's another example of a liminal space? I feel like so a divorce, you planned your life to be with this person forever, and then it's like you come to this conclusion, and so that you two really, you know, it's not working out, and you have to make the difficult decision to leave this lifelong relationship. That is tough. That is definitely a difficult liminal space. I'm just thinking of relatable examples as I speak. Also, like if you're pregnant, you know, your body goes from being one thing and then it evolves over time. And by the last trimester, you just had enough. You're just like, listen, I'm sick of this in between. I want this baby out of me. You know what I'm saying? And so you get real antsy around this time. But I want to encourage you today just to hang in there and accept where you're at right now. Accept where you're at. Oh, I left my clippers out here, but accept where you are at right now and deal with it the best way you can. Again, don't resort to complaining. You know, give God thanks that you have crossed through the Red Sea and that he is taking you to the promised land, because it's only a matter of time. Another thing I would say is to express your feelings by writing it down or drawing or whatever you do, but express your feelings. I would stay away from talking about it too much, because I mean, this is your journey and people won't quite understand. And I feel like the more you talk about something, the more you give it too much focus, and so it's magnified. And so I wouldn't talk about it too much, but I would definitely express it somehow. And so as an avid gardener right now, I am dying to plant in ground, but being in a liminal space myself, I realize that I can't plant in ground. And so what I have done to accommodate this space that I'm in right now is I have, and by the way, the reason for that is because I don't know, like, if I'm going to be in this particular place for harvest season. So I want to be wise and not plant in ground. And so I actually have adjusted to my situation, and I've done something that I don't like to necessarily do, which is to plant in pots. So here is one of my blackberry bushes. I dug it up and I planted in a pot, and I've actually propagated some of, whoa, I don't want to fall. I do not want to fall on this channel. But I'm propagating some of my raspberry trees as well, and just you know, making that adjustment to planting in pots instead of planting in ground. So that's it. You know, for liminal spaces, you have to make some adjustments. As you can see there, I've purchased a lot of perennials that I wanted to plant around this time, but I'm not able to, and that's okay. I have to, like, as a gardener, I am dying to plant, okay, in ground, but I can't, because I have all these different ideas of what I wanted to do, but I just can't do it. So I just have to hold off, and I have to wait. The best thing for me to do is to wait until I get the go ahead to go or to stay. Should I stay or should I go? I'm not making light of this situation, friends, but listen, my point is you have to make the best out of every situation, okay? Paul said, I have learned to be content in whatsoever situation I find myself in. So this time really is a time that we can learn contentment and trusting in God, because He's the dad. He provides for us. He's provided in the difficult parts of our life, and He's going to provide now. So give God thanks for spring. It means new beginnings, friends. It means new beginnings. And yes, it is a luminous, I keep saying luminous, it is a liminal time right now, but the Lord is faithful and His promises are going to come to pass. You just have to hang in there. Those that endure to the end will hold the promise, not those who wait and stop and give up and say, I can't do this anymore, but those who endure to the end. Even if you stop before, get back up, keep going, keep going, keep going. You do not win the prize unless you keep going. Thanks so much for tuning in, friends, and I hope this helped, and I will see you soon. It's about to rain. This video ended at the right time. Take care. All right, bye-bye.